Hi, I'm Matt with Petra Heating and Air Conditioning, and I'm going to be going over your Mitsubishi systems, maintenance, proper usage, and just some tips and tricks to utilize them and get full advantage of the systems that are in, and how to avoid some problems. Just a quick overview on how to use the remote for the wall cassettes. We've got our on-off button here. That's just what it says. We're going to turn the unit completely off or completely on. Down below here, we're going to turn this on for this example. Down below here, we've got our mode, which will allow us to cycle through our heat setting, automatic, and our cool setting, and dry. We're going to pretty much only be using heating and cooling. We don't want to get into automatic for reasons we'll get into in a little bit. And then as far as the dry feature, we don't really need that for our climate. So you're really gonna just have this set up for heating or cooling. The other setting we have here is our fan option, where we can scroll through the fan speed settings. This little swirl icon is the ideal setting. What this does is it's gonna automatically ramp up or down based off of the need for heating or cooling. So that's just kind of a quick overview on our remote here. And those are the settings that you're really going to want to key in and focus on. And we'll kind of talk briefly about these other settings a little later. This indoor cassette, right now I've got it turned completely off. So anytime we have this unit off, these vanes are going to be closed. When we give it turn it on and give it a call for heating or cooling, the vanes are going to be open. So anytime the vanes are open on this unit, this particular zone is turned on. If they're closed, it's off. Down here we have a couple indicator lights. Top one is going to be on or off based off of the setting with the remote, and you can tell by the position of the vanes. The bottom light, that's going to turn on when the heating or cooling is actually in operation. And if you ever have this light here blinking, that's an indicator of a fault or there's an issue with the unit. I'm going to go over real quick here the filters on these indoor cassettes. First thing to do, you'd want to turn the system to off. You'll hear the beep. Give it a minute for the louvers to close. That'll also give the fan time to shut all the way off. And then when that happens, we'll climb up here. You want to check these probably every 1 to 3 months, kind of depending on living conditions, lots of in and out the doors. You might need to clean it more often than other times. Time of year also with how often it's running. So we'll pop open the front door here. And we've got these 2 blue filters. And the best thing to do with these, you can either just give them a vacuum or rinse them off in the sink. Either way works pretty well. I prefer washing myself, especially in the winter. Some just stay in the house and give them a quick rinse. Just kind of give them a quick shake to dry them off. And there's a rail that they'll just slide back into position here. And then once you've done that, slide the door down, close it, and you're all set to turn it back on. So here we've got our wired controller for our ducted units. A couple things I wanted to go over on this one. Again, we have our on-off button, so we're just completely shutting the system off when we do that. We're going to turn it on, so when we actually have information on the display and the lights on, then we know our system's turned on. We've got our mode setting over here, so similar to the remote, we've got heat, cool, drying, and fan, I should say fan only, and automatic. So we've got a couple extra options, but again, we're only looking to use heat and cool. The reason for that, not using automatic, or let's say we've got upstairs set to heat and downstairs set to cooling by mistake, the unit's going to get confused with 2 different settings on the thermostat. If the downstairs remote's calling for one, upstairs is trying to do something different, the system will actually get confused and nothing will work. So you always want to make sure you've got both set to cool or both to heat, and we don't want to use automatic for that reason. Once we have our temperature our comfortable temperature that we like to use. Once you've got it set, you want to set it and forget it. These inverter systems are kind of like cruise control on your car. They take way less energy to just maintain temperature as opposed to trying to warm up or cool down each day. So the best thing to do, find your comfortable temperature, set it, leave it. Don't recommend doing the timer or programming settings on these either. Really just like to see that comfortable temperature setting, and once you find that, just leave it there. There's also the fan speed setting on these. Again, we've got 3 speeds to choose from, or automatic. We do like to have the fan set to automatic. When we have it set to automatic, it's going to ramp up and down based off of the demand by the system. Yeah, so that's kind of the basic features of the controller here. There are a lot of other settings in there, but again, we don't recommend those just because if we turn it way down at night, it takes way more energy to recover. And if we have extreme weather, there's also the potential of not even getting back to that comfortable temperature. So really setting it and just letting it do the work is the best way to utilize these. So wanted to do a quick run through on some of the parts and pieces for the ducted systems. So we've got our main controller. That's what's going to be used to cycle your system on and off. We've got our return grill, also or known as our filter grill, which is where our filter is actually going to be located. We're going to have access panels where the air handler is located. One of the access panels is going to be for getting to the control box of the air handler. The other access panel is where our fresh air fan is, that's bringing the outside air and bringing it into the air handler. And this is also where the filter changes happen for the fresh air fan. And then also throughout, we're going to have our supply registers are going to be located throughout the home. We're going to go over maintenance for the ducted units in the ceiling here. First, we're going to start with the filter. Just a couple latches. And we're going to have our standard air filter for the ducted systems. Pretty standard sizes. They're going to vary a little bit unit to unit. Everyone's got MERV 8. You can go to a higher MERV filter. The only warning there is you're going to want to make sure you keep an eye on it and change it more frequently. The higher the MERV, the more restrictive it can become, and they'll load up with dirt quicker. You're going to want to check this about every 1 to 3 months. Again, depending on living conditions, you might be only changing it out every few months, or it might be a more regular thing depending on the environment. So that's our primary filter. We also have our fresh air fan, which is bringing fresh outside air into the space. It's going to be a separate device behind the white panel. This is our Panasonic fresh air fan that's bringing outside air into the ducted system. It has its own filter, so you'll have a little twisty knob there. And inside of here you have another washable filter. So you're going to want to do that guy. Again, you're going to check that every 1 to 3 months. Wash or vacuum as needed. And then we have a MERV 13 disposable filter. Panasonic, you can get these online or through us. And these ones are going to be replaced about once a year. Again, that's something you can kind of check on periodically, but you're going to probably be about a year to a year and a half between replacements on those, on that higher MERV filter for the outside air coming in. There is, behind this other door, there are some settings for this Panasonic fan. Those have already been set, and you don't want to get in there and make any changes to those. And that is really all that is needed as far as maintenance goes on the ducted units. So these are the outdoor units. Just a couple quick things on these. There's not a whole lot to do as the homeowner. This blue part here is the coil. So this is where all the heat transfer is occurring. So you just want to make sure that there's nothing stacked up or blocking this. This is where air is wanting to come in at. If this starts to get build up or dirty, you'll want to give us a call to have us do a full maintenance on it. This is the discharge. So we can see the fan spinning here. This is where the air, the heated or cooled air, where the absorption is happening. Talking about design temps and how the units will work harder when they're recovering, it's the same here. We're not losing efficiency and we're not losing any capacity. Good practice, good idea to keep the area as clear and as clean as possible. Allow that air to dissipate, and that's really the goal here. So we've gone over system maintenance, gone over how to use the system, the importance of not using automatic for the system mode, but selecting either heating or cooling, the importance of set it and forget it. One thing that was asked, if you like to turn it down a couple degrees at night, that's totally okay. You can even go in and program it, although the programming is pretty clumsy on these. I'd recommend, if you like it a couple degrees cooler, just simply bumping it down at the thermostat. It's avoiding a large setback, like a 10 to 12 degree setback. That's where these systems will take way longer, use way more work to bring that temperature back, which also is a good segue into design temperatures. So in our climate, we designed for a 24 degree outdoor with a 70 indoor for winter. In summer, it's 92 outdoor and 75 indoor. So those are our design parameters. Anytime we have extreme weather that gets outside of that, like our ice storm we just had back in January, these systems can have a tough time trying to keep up in that weather. Best thing you can do, again, is that set it and forget it. Make sure you have that turned up and you're not trying to set back and then try to recover that heat when we've got extreme temperatures outside. It's going to really struggle in those conditions. So again, best thing, set it and forget it. Can't say it enough with the automatic setting. Avoid using automatic, go with heat or cool, and keep an eye on both upstairs and down to make sure they're set up the same. Also get asked the question quite often, can a Nest or an Ecobee be used on these systems? They can be. However, in our experience over the last handful of years, we have found it really dumbs down these systems. And so rather than having this great variable speed system with a wide range of speeds and settings, it basically takes it down to just a few stages of operation. One of the biggest things is it doesn't cycle down to lower temps or lower capacities nearly as much as using the Mitsubishi controllers. And so that causes some comfort issues, and we've also had power consumption issues. Uses way more power when using a Nest as opposed to a Mitsubishi controller. So can't say it enough, filters, filters, filters. Keep up on that, and the rest of the stuff will stay comfortable for you.